Get the new perk posters and retro t-shirts today for a limited time.
Where have you taken us?
They should be closer to the lab. No matter.
Hi everybody, RadAlsa27 back here, and we just got off that amazing Comic-Con panel. I'm going to try and summarize as much as I can as possible in a short duration of time. But let's break down the brand new Blood of the Dead intro cinematic that was shown to us at Comic-Con. The first thing I want to point out and why I showed you this cut-up clip was because things are wrong, especially because we know how it was supposed to go in the comic, where they meet each other, everything's hunky-dory, and even when we see in the basement, things are slightly different. I'll show you Nikolai going up instead of Dempsey going up, and why the Richtophens are so angry. This is a fractured universe. This gives us a beautiful new chance to continue to explore the Aether storyline, despite it probably wrapping up this year. If you want to see the full trailer in its entirety, the link is in the description as below. Make sure to watch that and come on back so I can explain a lot of this in case you don't know what the hell's going on in the storyline, because you're not alone.
You're late. Doctor, is there a problem? 2 for each of them. Survival depends on it. Yeah, you remember. So much to do. A vessel for Maxis, the opening of the gateways. Are you sure you're not getting confused? You'll be needing this. The Chronorium. But I've already read it. Read it again. What is the meaning of this? The pages have changed. Our blood! Mine blood! You cannot possibly expect me to let this happen! You son of a bitch!
That may not make any sense to you, because I thought we saw this in the comics or even in the past that Richtofen knew what was going on. Well, the Chronorium pages actually change, and the timeline doesn't have all the events that actually happen inside the Aether storyline on it. Purposely, Treyarch left that open so they could mess with it, so they could do more stuff with us and have fun telling this story going forward. So that's something to keep in mind. What you need to take out of that trailer is you see Richtofen, you're late, so he's not only in the wrong place when he teleports in, he's late. In addition, we see the Mob of the Dead Richtofen having 115 delusions, so this may build into our character's further issues inside the game. And his portal's blue instead of what we saw in Shadows of Evil. Is this some new technology? Because the Keeper portals were typically identified as red, so maybe there's either new players involved or Richtofen has his own way of traveling like we saw in the comic books where it was blue. And he's angry at the other Richtofen, so clearly something is going wrong inside this version of the cycle.
I will be reborn!
My God, what have I done?
What a beautifully fun sequence here with Brutus coming out and trying to get reborn. We've heard that quote many times before, but there's probably some significance to that, if not guaranteed that it's going to build into these alternate universes and the meaning behind Brutus's quotes in the original Mob of the Dead. Jason Bloedel and Craig Houston, for that matter, said their favorite map is Mob of the Dead, so they're really going to make this something special and really create a love letter to the zombie storyline. Both this and the map Classified are going to make waves in the community, as Jason Blundell said, in particular about Classified. It's going to answer those really big questions with the Ultimus crew. But back to Mob of the Dead real quick, this is a clear case of something's gone seriously wrong. He goes, Edward, what did you do? I've messed something up himself. What has he done? And this feeds almost into the Revelations trailer, where what we saw inside Black Ops 3 was the cycle succeeding, and now we're actually getting to see a fracture, potentially, of a Primis crew that has to sacrifice their own lives.
Destroy him! End it!
Shouldn't even still be here. You should be fading out of existence by now. Those blood vials. I was wondering when you'd bring this up.
God, what have I done?
You hear Richtofen talk about how he needs our blood, his blood, and he can't let that happen. Is Primis now having to sacrifice themselves, or just one of the many different versions of Primis that get killed off? I have a Dr. Monty video that talks about his plan to kill off all the different versions of Primis, and you may want to go check that out because that might be actually feeding into the storyline, trying to clear all the universes and multiverses of these Richtofens and all these Dempseys, and we're actually playing as a Primis crew in Blood of the Dead that gets the axe. It's not the ones that end up getting saved by the blood vials in the end. It's very open-ended, very ambiguous, and the answers are going to be very juicy when the map finally comes out. Now that that beautiful breakdown is over, let's get into the bulk of the Comic-Con discussion here. These are the highlights from it. I'm going to try and hit as much as possible. I will probably forget something, so my apologies. You guys can comment anything I left out in the comments down below. So, first off, there's 4 special edition statues. You can go on to callofduty.com and go to their store, and they are the Primis characters that you can actually pre-order for $250. I did not stutter. It is $250 for statues, 1/6 size statues. They are hand painted and crafted and artist, and I get all that, absolutely. But holy Christ, that means if you want the complete collection of characters, it's $1,000 for these statues that are as good as paperweights. As a gift, they're fine. If they were like $100, maybe. If they're like $250 for all 4 of them, I'd still be pretty upset. It's a steep price for only the most hardcore fans. So I don't know about that one. The thing I do know about is the new Mystery Box Edition, which is pretty alright. We talked about on previous Zombros episodes what the item might be, the big idea if it would be a new appliance or whatnot, and it seemed like Greg and Jason did hear something about that because they made a comment about the appliances during the panel. But what is a part of the Mystery Box Edition is you get a relatively large size new crew mystery box. You get 3 lithographs, 10 specialist passages, the first issue of the zombie comic, the fig pins, the actual action figures for the new crew, 1,000-piece zombie puzzle of that new poster they showed, that's a big mural of all the Aether storyline, the steelbook full game, a pop socket, whatever the heck that is, and of course the Black Ops Pass. I figure I'll buy this so you don't need to, in the sense that I can do the unboxing and tell you how a lot of it is not really worth anything. For $200, I'm not really sure what the big value here is, besides just being a fan. You know, I've been getting the special editions for years. Zombies has made a huge difference in my life. You can see the reason why I stuck with zombies. It's kind of a way, even though there's plenty of debates about greedy Activision and all that type of stuff. I'm gonna get this just for this year, because who knows how much longer I'm gonna be doing this type of stuff. So that is the special edition, which was the big announcement. Not really great. No COD points with it as well for $200. There's also like 13 other digital deluxe special editions out there. So it's very confusing as a consumer, but you do have a lot of options. So let's get into some of the bigger details at Comic-Con that you really want to know. The first is those gods. There's 4 gods inside the map. Those machines that do work like the perk machines, but you choose, like Jason said in E3, and he clarified it, you choose what perks are going to be active on those machines. So someone playing Bruno might go up to the machine and get a Juggernaut reward, but Scarlet goes up and she might get Speed Cola from the same Zeus machine. That's part of the whole customization. Now that brings up the scary argument of, well, is there a default mode? Am I always customizing it? Does that take away from the machines if they're always being customized? Is there really anything special about them, or are they just generic reskin of Jug? So that's something we're going to have to be on the lookout for. But I love the designs. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. And you can bet I'm going to be making posters based on them as well. Side 9, they have not shown any of the main bosses yet. So from the tiger to the alien-looking 4-legged spider creature to the gladiator, none of those are the big final boss. And it seems like they were saying we'll never show the final boss in our trailers, meaning there is a boss fight inside 9, which is pretty obvious at this point. But I hold out hope that we can get to a time where we don't need a boss fight to say this map was a good map or that Easter egg was good. If they can do it in such a way that we can still enjoy the quest without having to have this big, stupid bad guy fight, I think there's a give and take to that, where the bad guy fights will be even better. The first time we experienced it in DE was amazing because we never had it before, but after all these games in a row of boss fights, all of a sudden some boss fights start to look really, really weak, and then they're not fun, and it's just in there for the sake of being in there. So they need to be on the lookout for that. In case you didn't know, the new crew's storyline is called the Chaos Story. The Aether story is what you're familiar with the Blood of the Dead and all of our characters in the past. They said it's very self-contained, like the zombie maps and the outbreaks that occur happen inside 9, happen on the Titanic. So these things fit into the story in such a way that's easily explainable, and you don't have the entire world being infected like the Aether storyline where we had 115 rockets hitting the Earth. There was no way to get around this worldly or universal infection that is the zombies. Now they can really work with the story, control what's going on in the narrative, so there's not as many like, what the hell are we talking about questions going on. They also said it's perfect into fitting into mythology and legend, so hopefully they're doing what we've criticized or asked for years and what World War II has attempted to do, but take those legends and those things that just like, well, nobody really knows what happened, and then run with it in our zombie universe, and they go, oh, this is what it really means, because that's some of the fun things that we got to play with. Like in the original World at War, it was just like this lost scientific facility where they had these UFO testings inside the fly trap, but then the game says, well, what if they actually worked? It's those kind of fun questions that kind of make zombies amazing. They made a point that this game mode is way more accessible to casual players. There's tutorial modes before they get introduced to the new UI, and that's the user interface. So that's like the heads-up display you see on screen and how you navigate between maps and everything you're doing. In addition to that, there is a new factions mode. We get to join 4 factions. The 4 factions, as best I could hear it in the panel, was the Blood Faith, the First Legion, and Dusk and Tempest. I couldn't get the last bits of Dusk and Tempest, but they do have another last name to them. This is supposed to be a new social system, and it gives a new dimension for our players to explore the storyline, compete against other factions, and complete new quests. This will be a great way to earn gear, and it could be something similar to the faction system we've seen inside For Honor, or this is their answer to those continuous updates where you have all these people doing community challenges. They said there's over 6 months to a year worth of content here that we're going to continually be playing for this faction system, and they're expanding that to try and make it a more social experience, which I say good on them. That's exciting to see. Now let's get into the announcement that they're bringing back the comic book series. This time they're going to explain the 9 crew meeting up and how that came to pass, especially because on the cover of the first issue is Scarlett's father, and we're going to learn why all the characters owe Scarlett's father something and why they banded together on this mission to go save him. That is going to be very interesting. I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with that. I hope to see the story explored in such a new, fascinating way. The new crew, or the Chaos storyline, really has so much potential just to be a fun breath of fresh air and a really new, interesting story, while the Aether storyline is just going to be that beautiful nostalgia that we love and we enjoy, and it's just going to be a wheelhouse of fun. And the last 2 big things I want to touch on here is Zombie Chronicles 2 is very likely. Also, Jason's favorite map is Mob of the Dead. That was a question that was asked at the panel, and Craig agreed with him for the sake of not arguing. But that's very hopeful that we will get those remasters, and that's for more money if they're already in the process of doing that. Activision, it's a no-brainer to cash in on Zombie Chronicles 2, so it'll be awesome on PS4. We're going to have all zombie experiences, which is probably what they're going for. PC can load up all the previous stuff, but between Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4, you're going to have the ability to play every zombie map of all time, plus the new ones. It's very ambitious, and I think that's exactly what Treyarch's going for. And now, the article that was released on Charlie Intel talked in detail with Jason Blundell about Classified. That's the new remaster or remake of the 5 map. And Jason went in to talk about how did it fit in the story, and they had to find some explanation for it, and it really boils down to this idea that they wanted to answer some really big questions and see how it fit in the storyline. He even makes the comment that these answers we're going to give the community inside 5 are going to send ripples throughout the community. Right now, I'm on board with basically letting go of every theory or idea I had. Talking to both Jason and Craig at the BO4 event, it really started to seep into me that they were looking to prove a lot of people wrong, that their narrative isn't predictable, and they want to take this in a lot of new directions. Even the old storyline, that we can't put it in a box, even though they still criticize us for not being able to figure out the old storyline and put it into a timeline. We will be playing as Ultimus, but they still haven't been clear if Richtofen will be with them or it will be Gersh. That is a possibility we can look forward to, and I think they're going to answer stuff surrounding Peter McCain, the mysterious Black Image, and Kino Der Toten. There is really a lot of stuff that's still wide open that we really want to know. Even the cipher for Mob of the Dead. We might even get that in Blood of the Dead. There's these wonderful questions that are all going to be answered, hopefully, some of them, inside Classified that aren't going to be the answers we want. Craig expressed that to me and many of the other YouTubers as well, that these questions that we say it has to be this way, and if it's not that way, then it's wrong. We're gonna get some of those where they really have a different idea of where the story should be. So I'm trying to prep you right now for that. Blood of the Dead should be 35% bigger than Mob of the Dead. I think that just about wraps up everything I want to tell you about that panel. The panel was an hour. I got it to you in just under 20 minutes. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed. Make sure you subscribe for all your Black Ops 4 news, announcements, and updates, of course with gameplays and tutorials. I'm gonna be a pretty busy beaver in this upcoming year or two. If you want to support the channel, I have a little ad playing out there. I have a new sale going on, so if you want something cool and you want to support my type of stuff, go on over to radrendering.com and check all that type of stuff out. Have an absolutely wonderful day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye. From July 19th through August 3rd, the perk posters are back. Due to viewer requests, I have brought them back for a 2-week period. With Black Ops 4 on the horizon, this will be one of the last times I will run these posters. But wait, what if you're tired of these damn posters? I mean, there's a pack to buy 26 of them. That's only $2.50 a poster. Well, good news! I have 100% cotton t-shirts available now. There are 2 designs to choose from sizes small to extra large. Head over to radrendering.com to pick up the merch and support the channel while supplies last.